All right, let's see here. Good evening, everybody. It's a little bit later here. It's going on 9 o'clock Central Time here in the part of Florida where I live. Today is the 21st of August, 2022, and we are getting ready for another exciting week, in my opinion. We have some really good earnings coming up, and we'll take a look at those just really quick. So let's go ahead and pull this up. So we have earnings calendar. I'm using Earn Whispers here on Twitter. My definitely go-to and my favorite. And if we just zoom in here, you can take a quick look here. I don't have a whole lot that I am necessarily interested in, but there are a few. NVIDIA over here on Wednesday after close, Salesforce, Snowflake, right off the top of my head. I'm definitely interested in how Macy's performs and going into the school year specifically, but also Peloton because this thing has been beaten up so much. Dollar Tree in this environment and Dollar General, I'm definitely interested in. And besides that, that's the only ones that are really Palo Alto is coming up. But other than that, that's what the earnings whisper is looking like, or earnings for this week that I'm interested in. And then our U.S. economic calendar here that I use, Market Watch. This is a free resource as well. Starting on the 22nd, 8:30 Chicago Fed. You can see that Tuesday, pretty quiet Monday and Tuesday. I feel like what we'll be doing is setting up for what I would consider as the playing field, getting us ready for Thursday and Friday, and we have Powell coming up as well. He's going to be speaking at Jackson Hole. Anyways, there's some catalysts out there that can move the market, but other than that, we're going to keep it pretty simple and just go with what we always say, and that's technicals and price first. Okay, fear and Fear and Greed Index, just really quick before we get started, is around 51. We came off a few points. I was really looking forward to a potential, swing this way into greed and extremely greed, and that is still possible. So we'll get to that here just in a few minutes, okay? So let's go ahead and start with my favorite, and that is looking at SPY and QQQ first. And remember, we had the neutral strategy. The first picture that I'm going to be showing you, though, I will be using TradingView. And what I want to concentrate on is the bigger picture. Okay, so I'm going to bring you over here to a monthly chart. And let's go ahead and auto on this. We have some Fibonacci's on here, and we have some opposing zones, and we have what's called a relief rally zone. So these three major zones on a bigger picture. And that's what I'm mostly interested in here. Okay. Everything between there is just, we have these different catalysts that are coming out in the market. I do believe that we push up into this red box. Timing is the variable, but I want to talk to you about it from a Fibonacci standpoint, from a supply and demand standpoint, and just kind of show you exactly what I'm looking for. Going into this week, I believe that probably the most important levels when looking at the SPY is this right up here, this 23.6. So what I'm using is the rally that started back here in 2020. And then we finished right up here. We created an inside and down formation on higher time frames. We created this inside and up formation that's down here around the 76. And we have this relief zone that happens to be right between the 50 and 618. And you can see that later on around June, we pull back into this zone. We pushed up very nicely. We are currently on an inside and up formation. And the way that I like to do that is front run that formation and basically be thinking long term is on the long side. Okay. But again, we're a little extended on the shorter time frames, and you could see that we pushed up into the 23.6. We came back from that 424.68 level. We talked about it last week. This is definitely the line in the sand, if you will, on a higher time frame. Now, I'm not too concerned for the pullback. Matter of fact, I feel like the pullback could be pretty small. It looks like we're on day 2 of this cycle, and right now we're starting to go bid on a lower time frame zone, and I'll show you guys that towards the end of this for our ES Futures review. Okay, but right now, again, the inside and up formation is just right around here. It's a very nice formation. The 23.6 is resistance. Again, this 424.68 is going to be a major pivot for this week. If we can get up and over, I do believe bulls stay in charge. Big picture still looks really bullish. Things look nice. The monthly is still above the EMA cloud. As of right now, I think the futures are down maybe 17 points or so. So that's equivalent to about $1.70 in the SPY. So yeah, we're just kind of sitting on the cloud. Okay. Now some notes here. I just want to make sure that I read these out to you. It's very normal for us to reject at the 23.6. This is for now for 24.68. Level will be crucial for the month. Notice the inside and up formation is still intact and does not void unless price breaks below 411.99. So 411.99, and then we got that 424.68. And also note that price is still above the cloud as of right now. The most pivotal levels this week for me, 405.79 and 424.68. All right. Overall, my sentiment going into this week is very neutral. It's our second day of a cycle down. I'm not bearish by any means. Again, the level of 405.79 would have to break in order for me to start feeling a little bit more bearish. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on. This is the way that I'll do this. I'll pull up SPY and QQQ going into this week. We'll pull up our pivots, all right, and our neutral strategy. So let's go ahead and pull this back here. And since we're sitting here, this is last week's that we gave you for the neutral strat. I just want to show you the pivots. I basically have circled everywhere that we have a level for us to go long or short of, and I just want to show you some of that strategy and how that worked for this week. So SPY, the target up here at 43.65 was too far away from this 429, and we knew this. We actually covered this last week because again, the shorter time frame was a little overextended. So again, I probably should have made this just a little less, probably only $2 to the upside. And you can see we broke out and probably hit about $2 to the upside. All right, but the 433.65 level was not hit. We had a topping wick here. We pushed down into my bottom level here at 424. We went bid. We went all the way back up to the 429.50 level that I gave to you guys. And as I always say, any level to the downside is support. Any level to the upside is resistance. And you could see this playing out here as we broke below the neutral. We hit our target one at 422.10. We bounced into the cloud. We moved right back down, and you can see we're just kind of hanging out in this area. Now, I do have new blueprints. I just want to go over last week's blueprints with you really quick. Here's QQQ. We pushed up. You could see this. This gave you a beautiful opportunity to take this long off of the lower level, 328.72, where we came in. If you didn't get it there, then you could just take the level like we teach over the 330.85. You pushed into T1. You got a couple bucks to the upside, but notice a major pivot did happen off of our level. We then pulled back. We came into the trendy edge. We bounced into the 330.85. We rejected, and again, just like SPY, these levels then became resistance, and you could see we hit T1, T2, and T3. We bounced a little off of T3 and then kind of closed on the lows on Friday. All right, let's go ahead and plug in our new blueprint here. And this is going to put us at, let's see if we can find this really quick. My apologies. Sometimes it takes me a minute to find the actual number. Let's see, there's 8722, we got 81422. I am looking for, and I know we have this, unless I put in, there we go, right there. It's right under. Goodness gracious. All right, and same thing over here. Let's get to 82122. There we go. So these are our new blueprints. So what we're working on right now is just looking at SPY. I want you guys to take a nice look at this. Let's make this the daily, okay? And then we'll make this one a daily over here. We'll go to the 4 hour tomorrow morning when we open up. But as of right now, this is your new blueprint, folks. So the 422.41 by 416.36, it's pretty wide, but I want to be neutral in here. I expected the gap down into the lower zones tonight. I do expect a move or a bounce up into resistance by open tomorrow. And we'll talk about that again here in a few minutes when we go over the ES futures. Okay. So your SPY neutral strategy for this week. Bigger numbers, 422.41 and 416.36. But please note, if we break down for some reason into the 418.77 level, I would expect what we call a relief bounce from that level. Okay, so even though we're neutral in here, I can be looking for support or to go long off that 418.77. If we just continue to break down, I would expect a bounce of 416.36. Okay, again, neutral until we break above or below. In this case, they're a little wide this week, but that's okay. That's how I like it. Overall, I like what I'm seeing here. All right. I just think we need to digest another 2 days or so. Again, if we pop into resistance tomorrow, be cautious if you're looking to go long. It's probably an opportunity for us to see lower prices. Okay. All right. Let's look at the weekly just really quick so we can see it here. You can see on the weekly, we had an inside week on SPY. And again, we're looking here on the left-hand side. Weekly inside candle, we came back to the trendy edge. That's that blue dotted line. We had a topping wick. Our topping wick let us know immediately that bears were in control up in this area. We'll probably have a little bit of volume profile. As a matter of fact, if you look left, you can see these topping wicks. If we were to draw a line back across there, then you would expect some resistance coming in here. Okay, so again, inside week. If we go inside and up, we would have to push above that 424 level to really get going. All right. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Qs. This one is pretty clean as well. And let's see what my notes are just really quick before we start. The monthly trying to hold the 38.2 level and having a hard time getting over the cloud. Crucial levels going forward for me is the lower trendy edge, the yearly edge at 310 and the 321.79 level. So again, please write those down. It's going to be the 310 level and the 321.79. And again, those are the most pivotal levels for me going into really this month, but we can call it this week as well. Let's go ahead and zoom in a tad here. You can see that price is pushed over the 38.2 far as my Fibonacci or methodology goes. As long as price is holding in this area here about the 38, this is still bullish. So again, this is a very crucial number for me going into this week. So right here at 321.79. Okay. All right. So we are having a hard time at the cloud. The Qs, NASDAQ. This has been the leader in the market. Basically, this has been the canary for me. If it's pushing up, if it can get back over the cloud, I would expect the ES futures or SPY to do the same and so forth. We came into a double inside and up formation, which happened to be around the 618. That level worked really well. You can see it bounced up very nicely. For my demand and supply traders, when I zoom in here, notice that this is not a inside and up formation. Matter of fact, this is a continuation candle that we are currently in with a topping wick. The only thing that I do not like about this is if this thing turns into some sort of huge topping wick and it actually goes inside for the month. All right. And the way that that would look is that we'd have this big line right here, and then it would look like this, and it would close inside of last month's candle. If we start to go ask underneath this 315.70 level, that looks pretty ugly. All right. But as long as we're staying above that trendy edge that I talked about earlier, which is the 310 level, things look okay, but again, they go inside and they are setting up for an inside and up or inside and down going into September. All right. Bulls, what you need here is you need price to push up over 38.2. You need to get above the cloud, and we need to create a base above there. All right. Right now, we're just kind of testing it, and it's not working. All right. You can also see that right here we had an inside and down formation. Price came up and tested those wicks over here. Not having it for the moment, but again, pivotal levels for right now call it 310 and 321.79 going into this week. Just really quick, once again on the cues, this is your neutral strategy over here, 324.46 by 320.18. It's not extremely wide, all right, not extremely wide. And you can see the levels to the upside here, 326, 327.68, 329. And to the downside, 318, 316, and 314. All of these levels to the downside, I expect them to be support so they can bounce here. All levels to the upside, I would expect these to be resistance, and I would expect price to reject there. Okay, we're coming into a time where I believe we do have some good earnings coming up. Again, we're on a second day of a cycle down, not a huge deal. All right, this is normal digestion after such a big move. All right. Again, those are my numbers. My overall sentiment on SPY and QQQ are neutral this week. All right. It feels very normal. I'm waiting for, again, potentially. Doesn't mean I'm not going to execute a trade. I just want to make sure that I'm clear on that. Okay. My idea is that we need to come in 1 to 3 days. Today is our second day that we're starting here in the futures down. Okay. And then once we find some levels to the downside, I'll show you those here in a minute, into demand zones, I would expect buyers to show up. And again, setting that playing field up going into the middle of the week. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and minimize SPY and QQQ. And let's go ahead and pull up DIA. Okay, that's the diamonds or the Dow Jones. And I just want to show you what I'm seeing here. These are the major levels for me when looking at these. It's a monthly inside and up formation. All right, very pretty. Looks just like the SPY. Price currently above the trendy YE mid and above the cloud. That is great. Pivotal points for me this month and going into this week are going to be 332.66 and 341.10. All right. And let's go over here to IWM. And I don't want to go too deep into these because I kind of, never have really traded these a whole lot. And I just prefer sticking a SPY in the Qs. Okay. Monthly on IWM. This one looks like QQQ. Notice that the formation is not an inside and up. It's a continuation. And again, my only bearish thought here is if for some reason this cannot close as a continuation candle. And let me just show you guys just really quick so we all understand this. So what we have here is, okay, so you have the SPY with an inside, okay, an inside candle. All right. What we have over here, IWM, is that you have this candle here, which is your mother candle, okay? And this guy closed above it. So this one gets canceled. This now becomes part of the formation. And the issue is that this candle is not inside. It's not a bad issue. It's just that it's a continuation. So what we need this week or this month is we need this to continue as a continuation candle to the upside, because bears, all right, what you could see is that this candle currently right now, guys, is a continuation up, but could end up coming all the way back down and looking something like this with a big topping wick and be an inside candle. And then next month it could be an inside and down, okay? Or we could go inside and up. And believe me, you do not want something like this going forward. So I don't want to see that. What we'd like to do is end on a continuation to the upside. Okay. So these are, let's see, IWM monthly looks like QQQ. There is no defined inside and up. So either August finishes up as a continuation candle, or this becomes a very ugly inside candle before the close of August. Major pivots for IWM are going to be 197 and 188.5. Okay. All right. Next one, let's go ahead and take a look at the SKEW. I've told you guys times before on SKEW. These are your hedge funds. All right. And the way that I don't want to go too into it, but I do want to reiterate what we talked about last week. And that was last week I said, it's really interesting. I always look at the SKEW from a weekly perspective. and not a monthly. But I went ahead and switched over and looked at the month. And what I noticed about this was that the cloud was right above SKEW price. Okay. And because it was above like this, we expect the cloud to be resistance until it's not. Notice on the monthly, we pushed right up into the cloud and they came right back down. So we were accurate in that thesis. And this is where the market pulled back in itself. And the SKEW came back in and is still in this risk on territory, meaning I want to be long. Okay. I'm thinking long in this area. Okay. Now, the timing and everything that's been associated with this year is very interesting. I keep giving you my 2 cents. Last year, we stayed up here, which told us to be careful, but the market kept melting up. Down here, this keeps telling us that we're in an environment where things are so oversold that we still have room to the upside longer term. Okay, timing is a variable when looking at the SKEW. I could be looking out anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks for a bigger move to happen. So you notice we stayed down here in the risk on area for 2 months before the market really started to look better for us. And that was a really nice push, by the way. But now the question is, do we just kind of like on the SKEW come back in and just kind of sit down here all year? And it looks a lot like last year where you're just like, hey, I should be getting long. Things are really oversold. And, where is the rally that can continue to push up? I don't know. I'm just letting you know we're still in the risk on area. I still feel like there's room to move, like I was showing you on the SPY monthly. That supply zone is still quite a ways up there. So things could still, be in favor for the bulls. So the question is this week, again, my sentiment, I'm going to keep going back to this, is that it is neutral. All right. Because we are digesting. The market looks like it could still give us more, but even myself, I'm looking for more of a reset. The question is, how much of a reset do we actually get, right? How much do we actually get? That's the question, okay? So that is the SKEW. Things look pretty good. For the bulls, we're still in this area where if the SKEW were to push up here, folks, what basically happens as we push up here, if you were to put the SPY in the background, SPY is like climbing, right? And also as the SKEW is rising here, then guess what else is rising? The fear and greed. It's more on the greedy side. Guess what else is rising? The call, right? The call put to call ratio. Everybody's jumping in on the call side. And then you want to start getting a little concerned, and it's called protect or risk off. So we start to bring off the longer side and get ready for the bigger move to the downside. Okay. So we still have a lot of room is basically what I'm getting at for the upside. Let's go ahead and look at the DXY or the dollar. This is really important. I told you guys this on the weekly. And once we hit that, guess what happened? The dollar started to bid, the dollar started to rip, and the market started to pull back. So this blueprint going into this week, it's very important. All right. It's caution above 106.3. The dollar looks like it can move to the ME, which is this pink line up here. This is a trendy level at around 108.78. So if we pop into there, the SPY and the Qs come into support, it's a great recipe for the dollar to fade again and for the market to continue to push up. But just know that the dollar still has a little bit more room that can move to the upside. Now, if it breaks over 108.78, creates a base there, takes out this previous high from July 22, then guess what? You might want to stay put bulls and just, hand it over to the bears for a little bit longer where they could continue to push up here. And if they do that, we need to get back over to the monthly chart. I keep telling you guys on the monthly, the dollar is definitely extended. I'd love to see not a new high. Okay, not a new high this month, but an attempt towards that monthly edge that I was showing you, and then right back down. All right, this is an area of supply, and if we zoom in, you can see the inside and down formations here, and basically that's what we're using in this area. Okay, and we could come over here and find the top of this structure. So it's right where we came in last time. Okay, right where we came in last time. All right. Those are the major levels there on the dollar. Really quickly on TNX or the Treasury. My biggest thing here, it looks like the dollar, it started to bid. It's starting to come back. And let's see. It looks normal, but more concerning for me, if price pushes over 3.117. Okay, so if it pushes over 3.117. All right. So again, it looks like the dollar, right? We have this topping wick here. Price starting to go big. Came pretty close to this zone, and the cloud starting to push up. But what I'd like to see is a lower high and then just kind of fade back in there. All right. TLT. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. All right, TLT. What my mention last week was, can price hold last week's low? It couldn't. Notice that the cloud continues to be resistance. We have what is considered a very nice H formation. I call this the hope formation because bulls, in this case, if you're bullish for TLT, you'd be hoping that price would stop moving down. Okay. Next thing, we do have a squeeze here on Squeeze Pro. Just want to show you that as well. Maybe a little bit of sideways action here. All right, for a little bit. So Iron Condor traders, this might be something you'd be interested in. What I'd like to see is that we're going to hold 110, and I wouldn't imagine that we're going to push over 118 anytime soon. So we could be kind of locked in there. But again, if TLT breaks below 110, look for that low down here at 108. All right. All right, fear and greed, I went over that as well. My overall sentiment equals neutral. The pullback started Wednesday, but bulls defended that, and they pushed up on Thursday, trying to make you feel like, well, maybe it's not time to get that short. But Friday opened up lower, and this week is a if this, then that for me. Okay, so that's more of a neutral, right? Sometimes I'll just come out and say, hey, I'm bullish. Sometimes I'll just come out and say I'm bearish. But for me this week, it's a if this, then that type of week. If SPY cannot regain 428, we continue towards the gap down around the gap. Below at 413.50. If SPY price holds and can move up, then potentially it gets back up there, but just kind of chops around, and we wait for comments from Jerome and so forth. Okay, so again, for me, my accounts, folks, my margin account, again, my accounts are linked straight to my traders at Trendy Trading, and they get to see my trades within milliseconds from my API, which is really cool. My margin account is at 99% cash right now, and my small account is at 92.5% cash. Okay. All right, so those are the accounts. Let's go ahead and jump into futures really quick and see what's going on over here, and see, how are our signals doing and so forth. It shows currently we're only down 14 points. Remember, I got some signals firing in the room right now off the 3-minute, and you can see it's choppy. All right, you can see that. So I don't even, if I open this and put it on auto, great. But you can see here, these signals that are firing off, they are making some money. All right, and I'll show you that a little bit closer here. So they are definitely making some money. We had our last buy signal down here, and we had a buy signal here. So our last two signals, congratulations. If you're in futures, these are popping off. We do want to ignore short signals above the cloud. We are pushing up nicely here. So everything's kind of working out the way that I planned, is that we push up into resistance into the open. Okay, and we'll see how that works. All right, now that's on TradingView. Let's go ahead and look at my actual blueprints. Okay, and we'll go over these. I'm going to go over here to the weekly just really quick, and let's go right there. And this is the ES futures. We came into an area of support. Now all the levels are going to be different on my different time frames that I have here, because everyone is different. So I want to be able to provide a blueprint for everyone. All right, so currently on the weekly, we have a topping wick. It looks like SPY. We're inside, and it's an inside and down formation right now. We're underneath this trendy edge, this blue dotted line. We are going to have to push over that 42.25 level in order for this to be bullish. All right, right now it's still inside and down formation. Sure, we're having some kind of like snapback, but that is what I call a relief bounce. And again, I'll show you that here in a second. So as far as your weekly is concerned, from a Fibonacci standpoint, it's still very bullish. We're above the cloud. We have an inside and up formation down here. If for some reason the market had some kind of huge catalyst where the market were to dump, I'd be a buyer right in here. That is pretty much all I have to say on the weekly. Let's go over here to the daily. All right, so this is the daily. Let's go ahead and take these fibs off. All right, and you can see here we broke below the cloud. Here's our cloud. We're inside of that cloud. And my support on the daily, I mean, honestly, it just looks like head and shoulders, you know, something like that. And we're having that little relief bounce. So the question is, where are we relief bouncing from? Boom, there it is. There's your 4-hour zone that I went over with you guys. Like I said, sometimes we move very nicely off the initial or the proximal level to price, and you can see that reaction there that we had on Friday. All right, but tonight was a little bit deeper. We came into the zone towards the bottom of our box or our zone, and we started to push up there. Okay, so right around this level, what you want to do is at any level that I'm providing for you, you want to come over to a 5-minute. And when we get to that level, so again, these charts are different. So you could come over here and go to 42.06, which, you know, is somewhere, let's see, around here. So when price came into this level, what I want to wait for is the TTM squeeze. I want to wait for the yellow. And as soon as we start to make higher lows, want to be long with a stop where you're comfortable, typically under that low right there in this case. Just kind of go sideways. We squeeze for a few, and then you can see the momentum up starts to push us up here. Now, from a 5-minute perspective for day traders and night traders, you know, what you're looking at right now is that this cloud is resistance until proven otherwise. Sure, you're getting a few points out of some of the signals here, and we went to red, to white, to green, but we need to build a base above this cloud, which is what it's trying to do at the moment. We'll probably flag here a little bit. If we start to break out over this high, then I do think we can move up towards 42.20, and possibly what I would be looking for, if we can keep this momentum going into tomorrow morning, I would really like to see this get up here towards 4228 by 42.30. If we open here, I think that you gotta be cautious on the open. Basically what they did was they took it from demand, they pushed it into resistance on open. They'll probably give you a little something, and if they start to go inside and down, I think they break it down and come back and test the lows, which is a pretty common routine that you see here in the futures. Okay, overall sentiment, again, sideways. I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you're here in the morning. We'll be getting ready 30 minutes before the bell to go over all of our charts. You guys can see I'm already putting charts in the trade plans. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. If you have never checked out Trendy Trading, check us out at trendytrading.co. We do a 7-day trial for $7 or for $5, my bad. For $5, you get to see me trade live. You get to see some of the education that I teach and so forth. So a lot can be learned just in a week. But I appreciate you guys. I hope you had a great weekend, and I cannot wait to trade with you this